Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, the games I love the most, including my daily rundown best bet in Major League Baseball, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab or the Experts tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Wednesday, Major League Baseball. First up, we've got the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Washington Nationals. We've got Nick Lodolo and Michael Soroka as the starters. Now, Mike Soroka, the Nationals have lost his last 5 games, and we saw him give up 7 runs in one game against the Boston Red Sox. But after that bad start, he did bounce back with his last 2 games, 9 innings of work, 3 runs. And I've mentioned many times, I do think Soroka is better than his current ERA. I think he's been one of the more unlucky pitchers in Major League Baseball. He's got a 3.22 expected ERA, 3.9 xFIP. I think we see Soroka put together a solid outing in this game. I also think that the Nationals are going to back him up. This is a Washington lineup that in the last month has crushed left-handed pitching in the top 5 in team OPS in the last 30 days. So I'm going to roll the Washington Nationals in this one on the money line at Nationals Park. Next up, we've got the San Diego Padres and the Miami Marlins. We've got Dylan Cease and Sandy Alcantara as the starters. Now, we talked about how it was a very disappointing first half of the year for Dylan Cease, but we also mentioned that I think Cease is going to pitch well in the second half. I think he can bounce back and improve his game in the second half of the season. We saw in his first start of the second half against the Nationals, 5 1/3 of 10 strikeouts, shutout baseball, in a 7-2 Padres win. Cease has got great numbers against his current Marlins lineup, albeit a very small sample size, just 27 plate appearances, but a 30% strikeout rate, a low walk rate, and a 223 xWOBA. You compare it to Sandy Alcantara, who was pitching well for, at one point for a few starts in a row, but then right before the All-Star break was struggling. He, had some issues his last game against the Royals. It's tough to trust Sandy right now. When you look at the numbers against his current Padres lineup, he's got a 380 xWOBA, a 511 expected slugging percentage, 304 expected batting average, and only a 13% strikeout rate against his current lineup of San Diego. So I got to roll the Padres in this one, even though we've backed the Marlins plenty of times as underdogs, especially at Lone Depot. I got to go with San Diego in this one. Next up, we've got the Giants and the Braves. We've got Justin Verlander and Spencer Strider as the starters. For me, Justin Verlander is on auto fade, especially if you're up against a decent, opponent and a decent starting pitcher in Spencer Strider. I mean, he's not been as, dominant as he once was before the injury, but he's still, a 3.59 ERA, 82 strikeouts so far, and we know it's not been a full season for him. So those 82 strikeouts in 67 2/3 innings is still really impressive. Even better numbers at home this season with a sub-3 ERA. So as long as Strider can go, 6 decent innings, 6 quality innings, I think that the Braves are going to back him up. I mean, Justin Verlander, he's 0-8 this season overall. He's 0-3 on the road with an ERA above 5. The Giants have lost an overwhelming majority of his starts this season. He just gave up in 2 2/3 against the Blue Jays, 4 earned runs and 9 base hits, no strikeouts to go with it. 4-0, 13-0, 11-2, the first 3 games for the month of July for Verlander as a starter in favor of the opposition, of course. I'm going to roll with the Braves in this one on the money line and run line. Next up, the Detroit Tigers taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. We've got Troy Melton and Bailey Falter as the starters. Now, Melton making his Major League debut. He pitched really well in the minor leagues this season. Good strikeout numbers, solid control. I think he pitches well in his debut. I think he gets the run support as well. Now, the Tigers in the last month, not the best numbers against left-handed pitching, but we've talked about how Bailey Falter had a good start to the season with not so great underlying numbers and expected numbers, and the regression was pretty much inevitable, and we are starting to see that in his last few games, giving up 2+ home runs in 3 straight games, 7 home runs his last 3 starts combined. Pirates lost all 3 of those games. I got to roll with the Tigers in this one on the money line and run line. Next up, we've got the New York Mets and the Los Angeles Angels. We've got Sean Manaea for New York, no official starter right now for the Angels. Manaea in his first start back from injury, 4 innings of 1 run, 6 strikeout baseball. You'll take that all day long. Ended up being a loss for the Mets because of the bullpen, but still a really good, promising outing for Manaea. I think he pitches deeper into this game. I think he pitches well. The Angels have had lefties well, but they also have a really steep strikeout rate. I think Manaea can miss enough bats to be successful in this game. We'll see who the Angels go with on the mound, but we know this is not a great pitching team. Both the rotation and the bullpen scare me. I'm going to roll with the Mets in this one on the money line and run line. Next up, we've got the Kansas City Royals taking on the Chicago Cubs. We've got Seth Lugo and Colin Ray as the projected starters. I've talked about Seth Lugo and my concerns with this game in the second half of the season. Great numbers overall this year, but the underlying numbers aren't the best. He is giving up some sharp contact recently, and we've seen that. 4 home runs his last 2 games, 5 home runs his last 3 games combined. Even against teams like the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Miami Marlins, 4 home runs in those games combined. So now you're on the road at Wrigley against one of the best lineups in baseball in the Chicago Cubs. I just don't really think it's a great spot for Lugo. I think the Cubs offense is too much in this game. I'm going to roll Chicago on the money line and run line. Next up, we've got the Cardinals and the Rockies. We've got Andre Pallante and Kyle Freeland as the starters. Listen, I know it's not fun backing the Rockies. They've got the worst record in baseball by far, but this is a situation where I cannot lay this type of odds with the St. Louis Cardinals on the road with Andre Pallante in his current form. Kyle Freeland's given up 3 runs or fewer in 4 of his last 5 games. The Rockies have won 2 of his last 3 games. If he can go 6 innings of 3-run baseball, quality start, I think the Rockies have no problem winning this game with Pallante's current form. He's a ground ball specialist that's not keeping the ball on the ground. He's given up in his last 2 games. His last game, an 8-12 ground ball to fly ball ratio. The previous one was around 50-50. He's got to be a well above 50% ground ball rate to be successful in this league. He does not have good strikeout stuff. He walks a lot of batters, and he's given up 2 home runs his last 2 games combined, 12 earned runs, and 17 base hits in those 2 games as well. Ended up being a 7-3 loss to the Diamondbacks, 8-2 loss to the Washington Nationals, and now at Coors Field, I think he's in trouble. Give me the Rockies in this one, the money line. Next up, we've got the Diamondbacks and the Astros. We've got Brandon Pfaadt for Arizona, no official starter right now for the Astros. Now, Brandon Pfaadt was a starting pitcher we faded for basically the entire month of May, June, and the beginning of July. And that was because his underlying numbers, expected numbers, were miserable despite a good start to the season with his ERA. And we found value in fading him in certain spots because the Diamondbacks were just overvalued in his games. He was being priced as an ace level or good number 2 option when he just wasn't that guy. But now you look at his last 2 games, 15 innings against the Padres and the Cardinals, 2-run baseball, only had 10 strikeouts, but no walks, just 1 home run given up. So his control's been a lot better. He's not giving up as much sharp contact, just 1 home run his last 4 games combined. I think Brandon Pfaadt is somebody we could back again going forward in certain situations, not all of them, but I think this is one of the spots. I think the Diamondbacks are going to back him up. It looks like Brandon Walter will be the starter. It's just not official. If he is, we've talked about the Diamondbacks' numbers against lefties being really strong in the last 30 days, and the Astros have lost 4 of the last 5 games for Brandon Walter as a starter. I'm rolling with Arizona in this one on the money line. Next up, we've got the Brewers and the Mariners. We've got Quinn Priester and Luis Castillo as the starters. It's funny. I remember when the Brewers started the season right around, I think they were 20-25 or 21-25. A lot of people just figured the Brewers were going to be a losing team this year. We talked about on the rundown that this was a Milwaukee team I thought we were going to really find value on going forward from that point. They had a lot of injuries and underperformers in the rotation and the bullpen. Their bullpen was used so heavily in the first couple of series, they were never really able to come back from that early on. But, we said, settle down. This is still a very talented Brewers team. We're going to find our spots with them. And here they are, one of the best records in baseball. But when the Brewers brought in Quinn Priester, I did not think that this was going to be a move that made much of a difference. And I didn't think it would move the needle. I figured he'd be in the rotation for a few starts, give the Brewers some much-needed innings, and then maybe move to the bullpen, maybe even the minor leagues or on DFA on waivers. But here's Quinn Priester now, 8-2 on the season with a 3.33 ERA and 94 2/3 innings. He's also missing a ton of bats recently, and I didn't think that he had this in his game. 10 strikeouts against the Dodgers, 11 strikeouts against the Rockies. He's missing bats. His control's been good. He gives up the occasional home run ball, and I still don't think he's an ace-level starter, but I think he's a good number 4, number 5 for a Brewers team that plays a small ball style of baseball. They've won 9 straight of his starts, all of the starts in July, all in June, and the last couple in the month of May. I just think that Priester's tough to go against right now, and I've talked about Luis Castillo's regression concerns in the second half of the season. He did pitch really well, though, for Seattle in that last game against the Astros, and overall, the Mariners have won his last 5 games, so it's a great pitching matchup. Should be a low-scoring game, but I got to roll the Brewers in this one on the money line on the road. Next up, the Minnesota Twins and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Chris Paddock and Tyler Glasnow are your starters. Glass now a great outing for him last time against the Brewers. 6 innings, 1 run, 6 strikeouts. Wasn't enough for the win. The Dodgers did not score anything in that game. But against Chris Paddock, if Glasnow can go 6 innings, 1 run, he should be good enough for a win and a run line cover. I think Chris Paddock's in trouble in this one. He was miserable his last game against the Rockies. He's got an ERA of 5.81 on the road this year. Give me the Dodgers on the run line, maybe even the alternate run line, laying 2.5 runs in this one. Next up, we've got the Orioles and the Guardians. It looks like Charlie Morton will go for Baltimore, but there is no official line out, so we could see a pitching change, but Slade Cecconi should be going for Cleveland. Now, Cecconi struggled his last game, but the Guardians have still won 3 of his last 5 starts. I still think he's a decent option in this rotation, and for me, it's a surprising and a good thing for the Guardians that last couple of years and even the first few months of this season, this has been a team that doesn't really have great power numbers near the bottom of the league in isolated power, slugging percentage, expected slugging percentage. But in the last 30 days, we've seen them trend in the right direction. We've seen this team score some runs after the All-Star break, but overall in the last month, their isolated power numbers against right-handed pitching have really improved. And even though their strikeout rate is a little bit steeper than what we're used to, I think this is a good direction the Guardians are going in with their offense, which I've said is the worst offense in Major League Baseball. May not be the case for much longer if they continue playing like this. I think they can get to Morton if he is the starter. He got crushed his last game. I'm going to roll with the the Guardians in this one on the money line. Next up, the Philadelphia Phillies hosting the Boston Red Sox. We've got Lucas Giolito and Jesus Luzardo as the starters. For me, this is a really tough game because Lucas Giolito's pitched well for the Red Sox. They've won a good amount of his games recently, and the Red Sox have had left-handed pitching very well in the last month. However, their strikeout rate and walk rate against lefties in the last 30 days is not the best. And I do think that for a strikeout-dependent starter in Luzardo, who's had 7+ strikeouts in 4 of his last 5 games, the matchup's actually not that bad for Jesus, and I think he pitches well enough for the Phillies to pick up the win in this game. Giolito, while he has been pitching well, wasn't his best in his last start against the Cubs. I think the Phillies can get to him for a few runs enough to win this game. So give me the Phillies in this one on the money line at Citizens Bank Park. Next up, the New York Yankees and the Toronto Blue Jays. Max Fried and Chris Bassitt are your starters. Now, Chris Bassitt at Rogers Center this year, 7-0 with a 2.53 ERA. He faced these Yankees on July 3rd, 5 2/3, 3 runs, 9 strikeouts in an 8-5 Blue Jays win. Max Fried, in that same series, not the same game, but on July 1st, he went 6 innings of 4-run, 2-home-run baseball in a 12-5 Blue Jays win. So when you look at the first meetings between these two and these two starting pitchers, it was all Toronto. But for me, the Blue Jays have not really done much against lefties in the last month. They were okay against Carlos Rodon earlier in the series, but still I thought Rodon pitched well. He just got a little bit unlucky, gave up a couple of 2-out runs where there was a big error by Peraza, and that led to those 2 extra runs scoring. And I think that Fried can put together a bounce-back start in this game. I think he'll be a lot better. I also noticed the fact that the Yankees have good numbers against Chris Bassitt. They've faced him quite a while. He's been in the American League for a lot of his career, and then he pitched with the Mets for a couple of seasons where where the Yankees were able to face him. And in the current Yankees lineup against Chris Bassitt in the past career matchups, they've got, Bassitt's got a 350 xWOBA, a 449 expected slugging percentage. He's got a good strikeout rate, but I think the Yankees have the opportunities here to get on the board early. I think the Yankees win this game at Rogers Center. Give me the Yankees on the money line. Next up, we've got the White Sox and the Rays. We've got Jonathan Cannon and Taj Bradley as the starters. Now, I don't see a lot of value in this game. It is one of my least favorite games on the board, but I am going to lean towards the Rays. I know it's been tough to back Tampa Bay in this series, and the fact that the White Sox have been really great offensively to start the second half of the year, but Taj Bradley's coming off a great outing, and his last game against the Orioles, 6 innings of shutout baseball with 6 strikeouts, and overall, he's been pitching well. He's given up 3 runs or fewer in 4 of his last 5 games. Jonathan Cannon's pitched well himself. The White Sox have won 4 straight of his starts, but he's got an expected ERA just below 5 on the year. I think the Rays can get to Cannon, and I think the Rays win this game and cover the run line, so I'm going to lay the 1.5 runs with Tampa Bay. Next up, the final game for Wednesday's card is the Athletics and the Rangers. J.P. Sears and Patrick Corbin are your projected starters, so a pair of lefties in this one for 2 teams that offensively in the last month have not been great against left-handed pitching, but the A's, compared to the Rangers, have the much better numbers in the last 30 days against Southpaws. And J.P. Sears, while it's been a very disappointing season for him with an ERA above 5, he has faced the Rangers twice this year, and those were two of his, one of his, actually back-to-back starts against the Rangers, two of his best outings of the season. 5 innings, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts, and a 5-2 Athletics win, and then 5 2/3 of 1 run, 7 strikeout baseball, and a 2-1 Athletics win. So back-to-back W's in those 2 starts against these Rangers. I'm going to roll with the Athletics in this game on the money line on the road. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at the Experts tab at pickdawgz.com, and there is a link in the description. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.